Welcome to the Zono Sports Show, where you know Zonos. Happy 4th of July to all the Zonoers out there. I hope you enjoyed some good barbecue, fireworks. There were plenty of fireworks in the NBA this offseason, this past week or so. Just to get started on a little bit of them, we all know that the day after Zonos last week, what happened? Same day, I want to say Phil Jackson got tired. He got fired. It was imminent for this man to no longer be the Knicks president. James Dolan, you were right to get rid of the man. Phil Jackson, great coach, historical coach, coached Michael Jordan's Bulls, coached Kobe Bryant and Shaq's Lakers. But when it comes to managing and putting a team together, Phil Jackson just could not get it done in New York. They brought in, Frank Ntilikina or somebody from France, a point guard. But New York has a habit of getting guys that we don't know their name, but they can ball a little bit. We thought that about Porzingis. The fans did at least. They booed the man. But Phil Jackson, it was time for you to leave. So good riddance. And New York, are you going to do something? I know Melo wants to leave, potentially go to the Cavs with a buyout. He could go several places. But what are you going to do now, New York? Because that fan base is clamoring for a star, for a good team, period. Chris Paul landed his rocket ship in Houston. Now, he was reportedly not happy with Doc Rivers, the GM. Now, evidently, Chris Paul was concerned with the amount of nepotism that was construed through the way Doc Rivers treated his son, Austin Rivers, who is currently the backup point guard for the LA Clippers, and said that players in that locker room potentially felt, perturbed by the way Doc Rivers would address Austin Rivers opposed to other players. And I think in the NBA, there's no room for nepotism. Now, Doc Rivers denies these allegations and said Chris Paul left because he wanted to leave, which is understandable. I would want to leave too if I had to chill in Lob City for all these years and never win any real thing that mattered. So, of course, Chris Paul wants to leave, right? Now, how will this work in Houston with James Harden, Chris Paul, and then who else they got down there? James Harden, Chris Paul, and they thought about bringing Paul George. Now, my issue with that whole scenario, was that I didn't think that would work at all. But if you have Chris Paul and James Harden, I think it would work. My apologies. I forgot that Paul George didn't get traded there. Where did he get traded? The big news in the NBA was that Paul George got traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, that would not have worked in Houston, but if you bring Paul George, a bona fide two-guard, to the OKC Thunder to play with Russell Westbrook, play off Westbrook, and Westbrook now can count on someone else to put the ball in the bucket, I really like the team that OKC could be this year. I don't like what they gave up, though. They gave up Victor Oladipo, young, Domantas Sabonis, young but ready. 1-year rental options with Paul George and Russell Westbrook. Now, the 1-year rental option, I don't know if I'm very fond of having two guys on my roster and giving up those two individuals for some individuals who may not potentially be there next year. Russ could opt out, go somewhere else. He'll be a free agent. PG's already said he wants to go play the PG-13 movie out in the Staples Center for the Lakers. So was this a great trade for Oklahoma City? If they don't win a championship this year, I don't think it was. Because if both of those guys end up leaving Oklahoma City, it's left and turns into a dust town, a ghost town, somewhere where there's nothing left but banners of what could have been if we would have kept James Harden, if we would have kept Kevin Durant, if we would have kept Russell Westbrook. But we'll see how this goes at the end of the year. I don't like that trade, though, for judging from the circumstances that could come of this trade and come of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Wasn't very smart by management. But hey, they write those checks. They pick the players. I just talk about it. Chef got $200 million, which he deserved. A 5-year deal. I mean, everybody's getting their money. Blake Griffin, he scraped what Chris Paul left on the table and added them to his plate. 5-year, $173 million. Now, speaking of Chef's $200 million, where does this leave KD? KD got his 2 years, $53 million, took $9 million less, but he just did win NBA MVP. NBA Finals MVP. So in Kevin Durant's mind, does he take this money just for, maybe a year or this 2-year deal and then say, okay, I took 2 pay cuts, it's time for me to get paid? Or does he make so much money outside of basketball, off the floor, with different endorsements such as, Nike, He's got a few different. He's got headphone endorsements. Does he? He's got so many endorsements, KD, nowadays that I can't even keep up with all of them. But I know he's getting paid outside of basketball. So does that sway his decision to ask for more money after this 2-year deal is up? Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. But Golden State, I think they'll keep winning if they can keep this core together for at least a 5-year period. They've got a chance to win at least 4 out of 5 of those championships, maybe even 5, and do what LeBron was trying to talk about. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. Golden State could actually fulfill that prophecy. Chauncey Billups canceled Cleveland's request to meet with him. And not to meet with him, but to hire him as GM of the Cleveland Cavaliers. He met with them and basically decided that current job, that current role is not for him, which I understand. Chauncey's good on TV. I like watching Chauncey Billups. He knows basketball, understands the game, and he's somebody who can really benefit off of continuing to spread that basketball knowledge on a syndicated broadcast like ESPN, ABC, so that other teams with maybe different situations, closer to his family potentially, might hire him and say, hey, we want you to come be our GM, Chauncey. But some jobs are just not the right job at the right time. Chris Bosh released by the Heat finally. Now, we all know Chris Bosh's story with the blood clots, which is very unfortunate. However, this is a business. Pat Riley plans to retire the number 1 jersey, which he should, because whether you like it or not, yeah, there were so many memes that were put out about Chris Bosh with the champagne and other things and shenanigans with the Heat. But Chris Bosh played an integral role in winning those championships with LeBron James, and no one can ever take that away from that man. Gordon Hayward and Brad Stevens reunited, and it feels so good in Boston right now. Gordon Hayward told the Utah Jazz that, hey, you know what? It's been good, but that over there is great, and I want to go join greatness. So he goes and meets up with his former college coach from Butler that he almost won a couple ships with, and he goes there and gets to play with Isaiah Thomas, Avery Bradley. Now, obviously, the Celtics are going to have to give up some stuff potentially. Kelly Olynyk. They may have to even give up an Amir Johnson. They may have to give up Gerald Green. But they've got a young Jason Tatum and Gordon Hayward. They've got that core together. I like what the Boston Celtics bring to the table now. But is it enough? Is it enough yet? Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. But I look forward to seeing what they've got in Beantown. MLB-wise, who's going to compete in the Home Run Derby this year? Everybody's saying they don't want to do it. They're not going to do it. Bryce Harper came out the other day and said there's no chance that he'll be swinging that bat. Now, maybe that's because of the rash of injuries in baseball right now. I mean, the Mets, their whole team's hurt. I can name 10 people that are hurt for the Mets. So maybe it's because there's been so many freak injuries that he just feels like he doesn't want to subject himself to that type of stress, swinging a bat as hard as he can 20, 30 times in a row to try and get a home run title that essentially doesn't win you anything, doesn't gain you anything, but just it's one more line on your Wikipedia bio. But I'm just wondering why so many baseball players are saying they don't want to play in it. I think that could be the reason this is turning into what the dunk contest turned into a few years ago when it became cool to say, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. So maybe that's what this is. Cody Bellinger said he needs his pops to pitch if he's going to play in it, which I think they can maybe work that out. I could see Cody Bellinger being in it. Hope Aaron Judge is in it. Hope Alex Bregman is in it. But they've got to make that choice. So we'll see who ends up in the Home Run Derby. We know Giancarlo Stanton will be there because he's all on the commercial and said, welcome to his hometown, Miami. Can't wait. Tiger Woods tweets he's feeling good. He's finally out of his inpatient treatment facility. He got that right after he was pulled over for DUI because he took some prescription painkillers. Now, Tiger, we know you're feeling better, but we want to see, can you be the Tiger before? Can you be a good golfer again? That's what we're worried about. We don't need any more tweets. We're glad you're feeling good, but we want to know when you can get back out there and swing that golf club, if at all. Venus Williams, the one comment I want to close with her for the show today is that she's a resilient individual. Now, many of you may or may not know that she was involved in an incident, an accident, I want to say within the past week or two, where she unintentionally killed a 78-year-old man. Now, obviously, sports, they're not as important when we're talking about life and death, but sports can evoke so much emotion out of each of us. Now, if we look at Venus Williams, she won her match at Wimbledon yesterday, I want to say. And she was very emotional when talking after that match. I think she was asked a question about this incident. Now, she could barely speak, barely answer the question. I want to say from the reporter, considering that it's that serious of an issue, I don't think it may have been the most appropriate time to ask that question. But hey, as sports reporters, we have to ask the tough questions. However, I commend Venus for going out there, playing hard, winning that match, despite everything that's going on in her personal life. It just shows that athletic competition is the great escape from any and every outer circumstance that might occur. So, congrats to Venus Williams for winning that match, and prayers go out to her family and the gentleman who is deceased now, his family as well. So, next show, I'll talk with you on Tuesday. We'll talk about some of the stuff that's going on in the sports world. Sorry about no show yesterday. It was the 4th. I was eating. No, but seriously, thank you guys for watching the Zono Sports Show. I always enjoy delivering the juice to you all. We'll talk to you next time. And make sure you keep watching the Zono Sports Show, where you know Zono.